Hello, everyone. I'm David Riggleman, Communications Director for the City of Las Vegas. Thanks for joining us for Access City Council. Coming up on this show, our City Council honors some volunteers who've been serving in Ward 3 for many years. And another piece of Las Vegas history joins the Neon Museum. With me today to discuss these topics and much more is the councilman who represents Ward 3. You know who it is. It's Mr. Bob Coffin. Welcome.
Well, thank you, David. It's good
you?
to be back. Yeah, very few of these left, but I'm happy to be here.
Councilman is not seeking re-election, so he's only got a few more weeks with us here, and then he's going to be officially retired. Hard to believe. You've been in public life a long time.
Well, I've held office 36 years, but I've done a lot of political stuff before, and I'm not bowing out of public life.
Okay. You're just not going to.
It's a transition.
Yeah. All right. Well, you served Ward 3. You've served Ward 3 for the last 8 years. You know it very well. If you're not exactly sure where Ward 3 is located, we're going to show you. It's right smack dab in the center of the valley, basically. It's that east side of Las Vegas, east of US 95, east of I-15, in the downtown area. It encompasses basically the downtown, and then everything kind of east of there is basically Ward 3. If you live in that area, work in that area, then you were in the city limits.
I represented it in the state senate too.
You did.
For a number of years.
And you grew up in that area.
Correct. That's the biggest thing. Is I enjoy living downtown. Always have.
You have, and you've been in the same location, you and your family, for many a year, and it's where you grew up. You know that area. You went to school in that area, so you know it very well. It kind of makes sense that you would represent that area because who knows it better than you do?
Well, and I'm lucky that the adults of that day are gone now. Consequently, they can't remember my pranks and my juvenile delinquency from the 50s. So I'm very happy about that part.
Well, good deal. Well, since you are not seeking re-election, there is a city election coming up. Municipal races are on. In fact, early voting has already begun. Wards 1, 3, and 5, and the mayor's seat are all up for grabs at this point. In Ward 3, quite a few candidates hoping to replace you on the city council.
There are, and a lot of them are qualified for this job. So I'm really excited about it. And I think those who are qualified will be the top vote getters in the primary and go to the general. And hopefully the voters will understand that. I think they do because they know a lot of these people. And so all the extraneous weird issues aside in Ward 3 and, of course, the controversies in some of the candidacies, it is important to remember that pick the person who is experienced, who has some knowledge about government and is willing to say no to their friends. Those are the sorts of things I tell people. If you've never been in politics before, you got to be prepared to make a lot of enemies and maybe even frenemies, because that's just how you have to do it sometimes.
Sure. We should tell everybody that the primary election is April 2nd, although, as we mentioned, early voting is taking place now as you're watching this. The way it works in the municipal races, they're nonpartisan. And if a candidate gets 50% of the vote plus one vote, a plurality, in the primary, the election is over. Now, Councilman, in your ward, because there are so many candidates running, could happen, but the odds are pretty slim.
Well, it could. There are 3 people with the most activity. So it may keep anybody from getting a majority in the primary. But so I expect it'll go into June. But I wouldn't be surprised if somebody did take it out. There's so much money being spent.
Sure. Citizens of the Month, you recently honored them. This was great. The Castro family, you posted this on Facebook. You said, much of what happens in Ward 3 is owed to the Castro family. And we're going to meet the Castros in this video coming up right here. Tell us about them, Councilman. You recognize them. Why so? Well,
Art and Gloria are quiet volunteers, the kind of people every ward has. And frequently they don't get recognized, but they have a little business in Ward 3, but the more important thing is they volunteer. That's almost their job. They do so much outside their business that in fact it almost looks like they're full-time honorary Ward 3 staff. And they've helped us. For example, we're going to look at the Latino Network thing. That's coming up here, and they've been there. They're just everywhere. So they became our Citizens of the Month. And they've got an office here, but they also have an office in Mexico City.
Really?
So they're prosperous people who really give a lot more than the average person to their community.
That's awesome. And so, it's so great when you hear about people like that who get involved in the community. They're not just going to let government or somebody else figure out how to deal with issues in the community. They're going to roll up their sleeves and they're going to help do it too. That's awesome.
Yeah, they show up, and out of the blue sometimes I'll see them at an event I did not expect them at. They're just there, because they want to be there, and they are always bringing people with them.
Well, you know, I'm sorry to say, Councilman, I wasn't familiar with the Castros, but I'm glad you recognize them, especially for their contribution to the community.
Well, Ward 3 is full of a lot of people that are under-recognized because it's a different kind of ward. You know, it's the old-fashioned ward, the old time, no homeowners associations, no gated and walled-off communities. It's wide open. And this is the place people move to first. And so there are lower incomes, and so quite often they don't have the public attraction to them that you will get off the, say, the east side of town. So I'm very happy with them, and they represent hundreds more like them.
Well, congratulations to the Castros. Keep up the good work. We're proud of you, and you've set a high bar for everybody else out in the community to volunteer as much as you have, so thank you. Councilman, important meeting took place back on February 27th over at the 5th Street School, the future of Maryland Parkway. The idea here is maybe looking at some kind of light rail, mass transit to run up and down that corridor, connecting everything from the airport all the way into the downtown area. Meeting took place to discuss all of that, the particulars. Tell us about that. I think probably one of the big sticking points obviously is going to be expense, right?
Oh, yes, and of course the Regional Transportation Commission has always been in favor of the light rail or maybe a high-speed bus transit line down Maryland Parkway, something that we can afford. So there are definitely things that are going to happen, and they should happen first. But I'm a little worried about this push to suddenly develop a hugely expensive project servicing only the Strip. Talking about a tunnel, and that's all fine until they decide to dig in the ground in this town. But in the meantime, I don't want to see the attention on this being taken away, and the money for this being taken away to do something just for the Strip hotels. If it doesn't come through the entire city, at least to downtown Las Vegas, then to me, it's not representative of the tax money that's being raised, and it's not representative of the wishes of the population. So I hope the commissioners really don't fall in love so much with this that we lose everything else, like light rail or rapid bus.
In fact, it's interesting you say that, because that's some of what we heard at that public meeting that took place right there at that town hall to learn about the potential project. Obviously, people with interest in the downtown want to see this thing connect from the airport
Yes.
all the way into the downtown, not just, as you're saying, just certain segments of the community. So.
Yes, and that's been a goal of RTC and a lot of us to get that done, because if we don't get it done now and then this other project comes along, I don't know when we're ever going to get it done. We have had, as you remember, 25, 30 years ago, we did have a continuous mode of transportation being built. In fact, we even erected towers. They never got past Sahara, and that's where it is. That's our history of people moving here, and it's got to change.
Should mention, too, the two projects Councilman's talking about, the tunnel project and the light rail down Maryland Parkway, two different projects. What he's saying is he doesn't want to see one sacrificed for the sake of the other. So.
The Strip hotels want that. They should be able to make sure that the RTC, Regional Transportation, can afford it.
Yeah. All right, Councilman, we'll keep an eye on that, see where it goes. Light rail is something that's caught on in so many communities, works very well. Just something that we've never really had here in Las Vegas. People mostly get in their cars, and that's what we're trying to alleviate, at least to some degree.
When this was discussed, people were getting in their own cars. Now there's an awful lot of ride sharing going on. So numbers will change, but it's still essential for a connection from the entire, through this, at least the populated parts of the valley, to be connected.
All right. Councilman, great event took place in your ward on March 2nd, Family Engagement Day. This is over at the Arturo Cambiero Center. This is really great. It was a kind of a one-stop shop for all kinds of resources within the community that people may not know about. We've got educational institutions represented, healthcare, et cetera, and it's just a great event. I love these kinds of things because you can go to one spot, learn about a lot of different things, not have to shop around all over town.
A lot of young people attended, and that's the main thing is get the young people started early on and seeing what's in the valley for them and their parents. A lot of times the parents don't have time. They've been working. They haven't had time to really see what's going on. So we get the young people in. We get a lot of vendors there to illustrate stuff that's happening, which is for them. But this gathering had a lot of coverage from the media, and Cambiero and Lunt Elementary School were part of it all. We even had Dr. Zaragoza, the president of CSN. We had Dr. Mina, the acting UNLV president, and Dr. Jara, Jesus Jara from the county school district superintendent. So we had heavy hitters in the Latino community come because that is the center of focus of that area, that part of town.
That's great.
Yeah, so they were there not only to talk about what they do, but also to show the young attendees what you can do, you rise to the top, and that's without regard to race or gender. And I think that, again, it shows how this valley has sure changed.
Yeah.
And so we're trying to make sure that change continues.
That event is an annual one, isn't it,
Yes, it
Councilman?
is.
Yeah, it goes
Yes,
on
it
each
is.
year.
And of course, the Castro family were there too to
I
help.
noticed that. I saw them in the video there,
Yeah.
so that's great.
Yeah, they pop up all over the place.
They're making sure things are going to get together and work. That's great. Can't beat that. An event I know you love, I got a soft spot in your heart for, takes place downtown every year, at least kind of kicks off there. The Mint 400, of course, the race itself is off-road out in the desert. That'll be taking place. But back on March 6th, we had the Parade of Vehicles. You've been in this race over the years as one of the participants. But here it's back again this year to grace the downtown. This is the Parade of Vehicles that come in again. This is an off-road race that very grueling, but really exciting.
Even back in the day, we even had a National Guard tank come down Fremont Street and not tear up the asphalt, by the way. It's always been a big thing, and now it's 50 years old. It is. I have to correct the record. I did not race in the Mint 400. I did ride, co-pilot in a lot of off-road races.
I'm sorry,
But
Councilman, that's right.
Not in
this one specifically.
But believe
that's
me,
right,
I've
yeah.
got my collection of Mint 400 jackets and T-shirts going back to the 70s, and it's good to see what people can do. First, it was a kind of a backyard mechanic thing, and now it's really big time.
Oh yeah, it's high tech. These vehicles take a pounding when they go racing off-road, taken very seriously. Everything is thought out, to the weight of the drivers, to every kind of piece
It's become
equipment
a little bit expensive for the average person, but pooling their resources, you do find some family operations, and it is a great family event because families get there, they watch all this stuff, then they go out on the race course. Maybe they're at the start, or maybe they go out 20 miles and watch friends go by and wave at them, or they're at the pit stop or someplace or another where they get recognized, and that's a great thing for the driver to see a friendly hand wave to them. I think that, by the way, a spinoff from all this crazy sport is that our military and our automobile manufacturers have learned so much about durability, about suspensions. You can't imagine the punishment the cars take, including the drivers.
Yeah.
But they found a way to do it, and a lot of it's spilled over into the private industry now.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, I misspoke and said Councilman was a participant in the Mint 400, not that race, but other off-road races. I remember you always telling me that it'll just shake the fillings out of your teeth.
Oh, it will, especially if you're not belted in right.
Right.
You know, if you don't start your race tightened up, you're going to have serious problems when it's over.
All around, right?
But again, it's a sport. I mean, it is, but it requires an awful lot of homework, pre-running a course, all of that, knowing what's above that next. There's a little rise in the road. Well, what's coming on the other side? You got to know that, because there are sometimes surprises for you, and you just can't tell when you're going to break your car if you're not a little more careful. Normally, people go hell for leather out there, but there are times for caution, and the old slogan is "Don't break the car."
Yeah, right. Because easy to do. You want to go fast, but you're on that rough terrain. Easy to break things.
Yeah, it is. I've been upside down before.
Yeah.
So they have, I'm sure, in this race, a lot of people spent time trying to figure out how to get out of their car when they were upside down or on their side.
Right.
And with the smell of gasoline, that's something you need to learn how to do real quick.
Right. Well, always good to have the Mint back in town. Mint 400. It's a classic race, and here's to the next 50 years for them. So that's great stuff.
I hope so.
Councilman, this was a big deal. The downtown's kind of iconic landscape changed back on March 4th. The lighting of the guitar, the Hard Rock guitar, got moved to the Neon Museum. This was, of course, at the Hard Rock Hotel over just off the Strip. Now it's got a new home. It's been restored. And this was the big kickoff night to dedicate.
Look at those illuminated, neon illuminated guitars. I think that when this was put in, it was unbelievable how it stuck out of the building. And as you recall, stood practically over Paradise Road.
Sure did.
And the Morton family really did their very best on this. I'm sorry to see it moved from there, but I know the public is happy to see the sign saved. That was a big party over there.
Yeah,
and,
tons of people came. These people, most of them were donors who had contributed money to the restoration of the sign, of the guitar, which is about $300,000 in restoration fee to bring it back. And the thing is massive. It's about 80 feet high.
Yes, it is.
So,
and it'll be seen from miles, and primarily in that, it's a real, how do you say, you want to say an icon of Las Vegas that was able to be moved.
Yep.
So more and more people are coming to that. You know, it's a great place for weddings and for parties.
Sure.
Rob McCoy and his team do a wonderful job of promoting it and making it clean as a whistle. So it's really locals, particularly old-time locals, love to visit it. But we get visitors from all over the world who want to see what the stuff used to look like.
Well, in the museum, too, in October, this fall, is going to have a Tim Burton exhibit.
Oh, boy.
And when he had his exhibits in New York and L.A., they had 800,000 people visit these things. So we're going to see a lot of people come to the downtown to see Tim Burton's exhibit. But at the same time, they love seeing the old signs restored.
Well, I'd love to see this because Tim Burton films are like insanity on celluloid or on film.
Right.
They are so catchy, and every character is remembered for a generation.
Exactly. You know what struck me about the guitar, too, Councilman, switching back to that, that was always big. I mean, you knew when it was there at the Hard Rock Hotel on Paradise, it was a big sign, but the way it's displayed at the museum, you really appreciate just how large it is because it's not way, way up on a sign. It's right there pretty close to the ground now, but it still stands 80 feet high. It's more than impressive.
Well, it's worth it, and thanks to all those donors who helped the museum put this together.
Hear, hear.
They deserved that party and all of the things that they do, and I think more and more things are coming. As you know, even the Blue Angel, which has been out of sight for a couple of years, was fixed around there, and it's going to come back in scene on this near the location where it was. So all of these things don't always stay in the museum. We've tried to find them there, but in some cases we can put them back in a place that's suitable. In the meantime, they're safe.
Yeah, exactly. Preserving our history, that's for sure. So, Councilman, you have some wonderful events coming up that we want people to know about. Let's talk about Cesar Chavez Day, March 23rd. Some of you may see this after the fact as the show airs over the course of a week. Some of you hopefully will see it in advance. It's going to be Saturday, March 23rd, noon to 4. Free open to the public out at Gary Reese Freedom Park. That's 850 North Mojave Road. Bring the family, enjoy the entertainment out there. Tell everybody what's the purpose of this, Councilman? The
purpose of this is to remember a great person, a great American, Cesar Chavez, born in Yuma, California. Not a poor man then, but then the family had to move to Central California because of hard times. And they became pickers. They became people who worked in the fields. Cesar Chavez realized that people were being abused, not only Mexican nationals, but poor American citizens who were working there too. And so Cesar organized that Farm Workers Union, and it brought the level of employment up tremendously because they were basically slaves up to that point. And so at this annual recognition, we honor the march that Cesar and hundreds of people took from the fields to Sacramento to ask for legislation in California to help. Since then, people have seen him as an icon for Latino people. So consequently, we took it up 8 years ago, and I guess this will be our 8th commemoration of Mr. Chavez and his family. Some of his family live here and in California, and they all come here and enjoy it. We do a recreation of that march.
Of the march, that's what I was going to say, around the park there.
Yeah, it's an abbreviated, but it is nevertheless has 4 or 5 stops, which are duplicating the stops along the way of that march in California. So I don't think he'll ever be forgotten now. A U.S. citizen leading foreign-born people, immigrants, and people who were mistaken for being immigrants and picked on because of that. So he's in all theaters of life. Chavez needs to be remembered.
All right, that'll be March 23rd, folks. Just a reminder, that Saturday, go out, enjoy, be a part of
One of the
that.
primary organizers, by the way, was Selena Torres. Selena and her family were really people that began this, and with a lot of other folks I'm going to slight because I don't mention them. Selena has taken it farther. She became an elected assemblyman to the legislature. She is up there now for the first time, and she's not even 30 years old yet. So it shows how getting active in community affairs, it might give you the bug to run for public office. It certainly will give you the skill. If you have the bug and you have the talent, you get into local events like this and no telling where you'll go.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's coming up, folks. Don't forget. And then also, this is really very special to you, Councilman. This is one of your legacy projects in Ward 3. The grand opening of the East Las Vegas Library is going to be April 25. There it is, April 25. That's a Thursday, 10 o'clock, the grand opening of this new library. This was, I know, near and dear to you because this area of town had no library, zero.
Has never had. The closest thing was a library on Las Vegas Boulevard near Cashman Field, which was outmoded when it was opened, and it has been the subject of a lot of controversy. This one is really in the heart of Ward 3, the eastern part of the city.
Over on East Bonanza.
Never had a library there, and so if anybody wants to drive down Bonanza around 28th Street is where the corner is, and take a look at that, and if you're an old timer, you'll remember the notorious reputation that that neighborhood had. And it has been welcomed with open arms. This library will be the equivalent of anything in Summerlin or any of the higher income areas. It truly is Wi-Fi for the neighborhood in addition to those in there. We're going to have a lot of stuff that isn't in another library. As we build on what libraries need, you're going to find it in this place. And if there's room to grow, there's room to have a public area. We ran out of money. I should say the library board ran out of money. But this is a joint venture with the city, and frankly, you may not know this, but the school board had some land. We got involved in the trade.
Tell everybody real
Housing
quickly.
Authority.
Yeah, Councilman, there was a little bit of trading that took place to shuffle things around so that it could happen, but it was a partnership, as you said. The city was involved, the library district, the school district, and the Housing Authority.
Housing
right?
Authority,
Yeah,
four
yeah.
ways. We own the land now under this library, and the library district owns the library, I
itself,
guess.
yeah.
I don't know quite how it works. The point is
That's
that
kind of the way the Smith
well,
Center
we had
and the Mob Museum, same arrangement.
the person I like to give credit to for thinking about how we could do all these trades, because it was land all over the place. It was like a monopoly thing. Is Scott Adams, our current city manager, and this is before he became city manager. He showed his talent for finance by working all these four-way deals to make everybody happy and make everybody equitable. And nobody really spent more than their budget had.
Exactly.
And so we were able to do it for essentially bargain basement prices.
Yeah. But it was a win-win-win-win for
Absolutely.
everybody because, and again, the community, there was absolutely no library in that section of town. So
No.
now there's going to be.
No, and it'll be a modern day library. It will have a lot of books, that's for sure. But it's going to have everything electronic.
Yeah, a lot of other resources that libraries have these days.
And it'll be
yeah.
used for educational classes as well. So there'll be a lot happening.
There'll be a theater in there, right, Councilman? All that, all those amenities. So that's great.
Yeah, it's going to be adequate for everybody's needs and for the next generation.
So April 25th is the grand opening. After that, hey, it's open for business. Again, it's on East Bonanza. You have to go check it out.
I think the whole council is going to be there.
Yeah, be a big deal, big day. And then, Councilman, it's coming up, our city's birthday again, May 15th, 1905, the founding of the city, but our parade this year, El Dorado, is going to take place on May 11th. The closest day to that, Saturday, May 11th, in the downtown along the 4th Street parade route, kickoff at 10 o'clock. This is a great event.
I marched
We always
in this
have mild
parade.
weather, and just great to get out and celebrate the founding of our city.
I'm sorry I interrupted you.
No, go ahead.
But I did march in this parade when I was about 10. You know, when I was a kid, there were the children's parade on Friday, the beauty parade on Sunday. Well, but the Frontier parade was on Saturday. So in all that, some elementary school kids did march. We did, playing our little plastic, what they called the flutophones. I think kids know them as recorders now.
Yeah.
Didn't make very much noise. My parents were a little surprised that it made so little noise, as a matter of fact, but we were proud third graders.
Sure.
And so I think that, it's a memory that I'll never forget. And folks, go see it.
Yeah. This is video, we should say, Councilman, from last year's parade, but it's been a tradition in Las Vegas going back into the 30s, right, Councilman?
Yes, that's true. And I know it's going to continue for a long time because people that are Here, they love parades, and this is on our traditional parade route downtown. We sometimes make people a little angry when we mess up the traffic for a few hours at a time. But, you know, we're doing okay. It'll be a good one.
But we're giving you fair warning. May 11th, 10 o'clock. That's a Saturday, El Dorado
And
Parade.
there will be a rodeo around there, too. There'll be one.
Yeah, oh yeah. It's a whole package of things.
Yeah,
So, yeah.
for sure. We just don't call it El Dorado Rodeo.
Right, exactly. But
Right.
we've got the El Dorado Parade still
Yes,
going
sir.
on after all these years. So, well, Councilman, we were running out of time here, but we want to tell everybody out there, hey, we always want to hear from you. So if you have something you'd like to share with Councilman Coffin, you can always find him on Facebook and Twitter. He is very active on social media, in fact. And if you leave a comment, we may use your post on our next show. You can also contact the councilman just by picking up the phone, 702-229-4623, or send him an email. His address is lvcouncilman@hotmail.com, and that will go directly to the councilman himself. He will see your email. So
I do. I get a lot of work
You
done
surely
on Friday,
do.
Saturday, and Sunday when the offices are closed.
Yep. You've been very responsive, as has your staff in all the years you've been here.
Thank you.
All right. Well, Councilman, we still got you around a little bit longer. We'll see you again 6 weeks from now with another update from Ward 3. We're not ready to say goodbye to you yet, just yet. You've got a few more weeks with us, so we're going to take advantage. All right.
Take it. Take all the advantage you want.
All right. Thank you. And we want to thank you for joining us for this edition of Access City Council. Don't miss our next show beginning on March 28th with Ward 4 City Councilman Stavros Anthony. You can catch all of our KCLV shows on Apple TV, Hulu, and Amazon Fire. And don't forget, you can watch us live on the internet at kclv.tv. We'll see you next time right here on KCLV, where we bring city government closer to you. Thanks for watching, everyone.